All Age Media is proud to present The Week Before, a show that encourages discussion, knowledge and a bit of banter in between. Now presenting Jamie Dyer with this week's special guest.
My guest this week is a man who many listeners may know as the one for discussion. Perfect show, this one for him, of course. I'm, of course, talking about David Snape. He's our guest this week, the presenter of the David Snape Show, no stranger to discussion and music as well. He joins me this week, so hello.
Oh, hiya, Jamie. How are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you. And for those who've never listened to this show before, it consists of 3 rounds. The first round is the discussion round, of course, and because I know that David is into basketball and the NBA and all that area, like myself, I thought that seemed like a perfect opportunity to discuss that. Can I ask, David, how did you get into the NBA and basketball in general?
I think it was mostly because I've been playing the NBA 2K games for a good few years now, and I just like the way that it was just all presented and that. The gameplay is excellent and that. Last year I was trying to catch up with with the NFL on Channel 4 with Burn K and Co. It wasn't a bad way of not a bad sport, but I found it that with the stop and start sort of plays, it can be drastically long. So I just thought I would just give them an NBA a go, just like a subscription thing, and I'm amazed, because you just got players with they can play matches a good 4 or 5 times a week. So probably the physicality, in the mental side in this fast action-paced game is quite phenomenal. And it's actually one of those sports that I really don't mind if players get millions and millions of pounds in their salary just to play basketball, because I think they certainly earn their money, if you like.
Well, they're at the top of their game, which is fantastic. And as you say, it's that level of play. I mean, even in the lower kind of spectrum of basketball in general is very, very well played. But the NBA is probably some of the best players in the world, some of the best athletes in the world. And as you say, you don't really care that they get paid millions, because it's like, well, the quality of the play, and as you say, the number of times they play per week is just phenomenal, really.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's just the little neat touches, if you like, in terms of gameplay, because when you're attacking, you have to try and find an opponent to pass along to, or just probably get into space if somebody wants to stand there and do a screen so that another player can actually go around him and just probably make a pass into the net or in the paint, or try and do a long 3-pointer. Whilst, if you like, kind of in a defensive side of things, you just have to track each offensive player, if you like. I mean, if it's like man-to-man and that, try your best not to foul if it's, a shooting foul or a wee sin, if you like, and just do your best just to try and block or to steal every shot and that. So
definitely
the variables in play are great.
And the thing is, I once spoke to someone who didn't know much about the sport, and they told me, and I quote, "Isn't it just running from one side of the court to the other?"
Well, you can probably say that if you like, but you gotta understand it is so much fast paced, because you only get like 24 seconds to to take the shot from the opponent's end all the way to the other end. But to make you walk from the first half of your piss over to your shooting half, that's 8 seconds. So maximum. So you got like 16, a minimum of 16 seconds just to find the best option, if you like. And I do believe that, like coaches, for example, when they have the timeouts and they're like these massive boards with pieces of paper, and they're just trying to find various bits of solutions. I mean, I would try and personally go for an iPad myself if if they were to try and get the sort of gameplay onto your screen, if you like. But it is just a lot more than just going around from side to side, a bit like what you do in a bleep test.
Yeah, exactly. It's not just a glorified bleep test. And I'm like you. I mean, I first got into basketball as a sport thanks to the movie Space Jam about 20 years ago. But the actual gameplay, you didn't really get into the game until like NBA 2K. And the amount of level of detail on those things is spectacular. Probably some of the best sports games ever made.
I do agree, absolutely. And it's just, I think one of the best things about it is the presentation.
Yeah.
Because you're just, you're into the game as well. You got you got your commentators, Kevin Harlick and the other two, just just calling the game out if it's if it's gameplay or bits of statistics as well. Even if you're halfway through the season and they'll take a look at, I don't know, something like the best 3-point percentage shooters from the last 10 games, and then you see your name somewhere in the top 5 or whatever. So I think 2K has done a phenomenal job of actually providing with possibly one of the best sports game franchises around. I'm amazed.
Yeah, and they've always kind of been ahead. And to be honest, because of the whole EA Live thing, NBA Live, that's kind of a weaker cousin in my opinion. Just my opinion, really.
Well, I haven't personally tried the games, but I do know that they generally got lower ratings or lower marks, if you like, on the reviews. So
yeah, so kind of moving away from the games there and focusing more on the actual matches themselves, if you can call them that. Obviously you've got a subscription to NBA and you can watch the games. What do you think kind of struck you from playing the games? What was the thing that struck you when watching an actual match?
Well, in terms of actually watching a live match, if you go into the, like, I don't know, the NBA Game Time website and you wanted to watch a match live, if you like, you kind of, I mean, depending on the actual broadcast, if you like, I think the one that I was watching, I think it was last Sunday, with I think the kind of presentation, if you like, it kind of bit like you were a bit like in a cinema. I mean you get to see, well, some of the acts actually come on when the teams, for example, actually have like a timeout. So
yeah,
I think you got like these kids group dancing around, and I think the halftime show was was like a former winner of America's Got Talent. Can't remember what they were called, but there were two to-be middle-aged men with a load of dogs, and they do some amazing sort of tricks, if you like.
The Olate dogs.
Yes, I think that's the one. So I think it's not just about actually watching the whole game itself. I think it's about trying to get as much entertainment, if you like, as well for your money. And I also think the commentary team and the presentation, they do quite well on that as well.
Well, I find that commentary in basketball in general is probably some of the best. Some of the best. I mean, I think I was watching a college basketball game the other day, and I swear to you, the commentators said, Do you know what I like about that guy? He's got such soft hands. What? What's that? It's so random, but somehow relevant.
I know. What was you thinking of the soft hands? Maybe do like a little bit of a finger roll. Is that what you're trying to? Is that what they're trying to say?
That's probably what it is, because those athletes, they look after themselves, definitely. You know, no matter what level it is, they definitely look after themselves because they have to, because it's very, very intensive.
Yeah, and I mean, there have been like some headlines with with it being so intense and that tempers can really fly through. I mean, not just for the coaches, but to some of the players as well. I mean, maybe because of that, maybe their performances may be not quite so inconsistent. Probably James Harden, for an example, for the Houston Rockets, sometimes have great games, probably have 40 plus on that, but then sometimes may not be his night.
No. Well, you do tend to find. I mean, we'll get on to that in a minute, but I think the player at the moment, the player that sticks out to me is Stephen Curry. Absolutely.
Oh man, he is on fire. I think I was watching one of the full masses. I only seen one of the full masses from the Golden State Warriors, and I think that team in particular. I mean, this is like in a whole new different planet. I mean, what's it currently? They got the first 15 games all unbeaten, and it seems like that Steph Curry seems to be getting better and better. Probably 32 or 33 points per game average on those 15 games, which is really phenomenal. I think he got over 50.
I know.
One game, I think.
I know. Ridiculous pointage. Ridiculous pointage on that. Certainly no one in the league at the moment really to touch him.
Oh God, I really can't think of a player to stop him. And of course, he probably does the most ridiculous threes you ever see. So if you ever get the chance to actually watch his footage, maybe on YouTube, for example, and it will blow you away, guys.
Oh, definitely. We'll have to check that out. Well, that's the end of the first round. That is the discussion round. And we move on now to an old favourite of mine, the Tell Me About round, which is where, for those new listeners, I give you 15 seconds to talk about a particular subject. That's just 15 seconds. You can say whatever you like about the subject in those 15 seconds. If I think you can talk more about that, then obviously I will get you to speak for another 15 seconds. So, David, kind of an easy one here. Give me 15 seconds on the subject of James Harden, starting now.
Well, James Harden over at the Houston Rockets, quite a nice figure, if you like. I don't know if he has something like a Mohican in that. I would say he's more of a team player, more of a strong individual that wants to run himself right into the basket as much as possible, and also could do like a couple of 3-pointers. I'm not sure he's that much of a blocker, mind you, but again, inconsistent performer. However, I would say once he gets into the zone, he is great.
There we are. That was 30 seconds. There we go. That's the beauty of this. I should really call it Tell Me About and give you 30 seconds. But there we are. That's interesting about James Harden. I've not seen much of the Rockets, of course. We'll give you one more subject here before we have to go on to the third round. And I'll give you the subject of the greatest player of all time. Tell me something about that in 30 seconds, starting from now.
Well, the greatest player of all time, that is such a broad-range question. You can think of all sorts of different players in all sorts of different sports, not including basketball. I mean, for example, you can go for Ronaldo for football. You can go to Tiger Woods in his best form in golf. You can probably even go to Pete Sampras for tennis. Why not Roger Federer, you may ask? Well, I just think of Pete Sampras because it's coming out to the top of my head. So 15 seconds isn't that long to think. Hello, you still there?
Yeah, I am. That's very, very true. I'm glad I turned that down there because I laughed. But there we are. Yeah, I would say in basketball, actually, the best player of all time, probably Michael Jordan.
Well, yeah, of course. I mean, that would be one of the ones that you can think out of the top of your head. But I want to go into Shaquille O'Neal, who not only is another great player itself, but he's probably one of the people that you think about to provide like great sort of commentary. Not just because he has like a broad range of knowledge and that, but he also, with his very deep voice, kind of makes it sound a lot of fun. Even if he, I don't know, does his like Diesel dunks or Shaquille Fu. So
I know. Well, there's as you said, there are many contenders, especially in that sport, because it's so intensive. It depends what you're looking for, really. Depends what you're looking for. Right, let's move on to the next round. This doesn't necessarily have to be basketball themed. Could be themed around anything. Now I ask, what's on your mind? So you tell me literally a random subject. We'll talk about it for 5 to 7 minutes or so. So David, what's on your mind?
Well, what's on my mind at the moment is I want to talk about great drama, and I think one of the things that I've been really pleased about when watching stuff this year, it has been just the amazing amounts of great TV drama that have been coming onto our screens this year. I was discussing it with my mum over the weekend just to think of a couple of contenders. We had one that I think it was finished like last month or something called was it Dr. Foster?
Yeah.
Where when she finds out that his husband is having a secret affair, and all sorts of different developments come out with with his job and risking all to the family money and all that, and it is really, really, really intense. But the one that I actually picked out, this was back in March or April, was a drama called Banished. This was, I think this, trying to think was this was set, I think it was either somewhere between the 15 and 1600s, where you know, if you like get caught to like pickpocketing or something over the UK, you'll get sent over in Ireland somewhere in Australia, and to probably like spend the rest of your life, probably be treated as slaves, if you like. So they'll go through like various odd jobs and all that, and they all went with people with very nice, I think it was white and red sort of costumes, holding their rifles and that. But I was very surprised that they made it into to a great story that it was, with kind of intense moments. Also with one slave who having an affair with one of the top commanders and all that, and I can just remember it being so tense, so invigorating. I just can't really keep my eyes off from watching it. I want to ask you, Sammy, what would be your best drama that you've seen this year?
Well, I mean, there are many contenders. I mean, The Syndicate was quite good earlier this year. I know that was on its third series. But I quite enjoyed that, apart from the disappointing ending. But, you know, it was a relatively good series. I think in general this year there have been some very, very good television productions, in Britain especially.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. The one you mentioned, the Syndicate, that had Lenny Henry in it.
Yes.
And I think he was the most standout performer. Because of the sort of character that that he wanted to be. I mean, yeah, I do agree. The ending was kind of obvious as well over who done it and that. But yeah, certainly another contender.
Oh, definitely, and as you say, I mean, Lenny Henry was basically playing an autistic person, and that's probably not something that's really been done before.
No, and I think he done a really, really good job. I kind of like that side to Lenny Henry, the more of his acting kind of role. There was a one-parter documentary about drama about about the younger days of Lenny Henry.
There was,
he actually played Lenny Henry's father himself.
Yeah, I love it when they do that. It's a bit like a few years ago when they did a thing on Coronation Street, and they had the original, William Roach's son playing William Roach.
Wow, that must have been something. I don't think I've seen that in particular.
No, but there have been several different things like that. I know exactly what you mean. It's kind of interesting when they play their own family. I mean, especially as, you know, Lenny Henry obviously looks a little bit like his father. I don't know, but he probably does. So it fits the bill. But I don't think that was necessarily a straight drama, was it? There was a bit of invention as well.
Yeah, and I think you kind of always need that sometimes in dramas. That little bit of Benson to get the listeners, the watchers more engrossed in that. I think if you're looking for that sort of area, nothing compares to, let's say, Game of Thrones, with I don't know, they're still probably making the brand new series up and ready. I was lucky enough to watch the latest series this year, and once again they have impressed so much with the amount of content in that. And let me just say one more time that the TV series is a lot. Some of the bits from the book are the same, but some of the storyline contents from that are a bit different to the book. And a bit of a spoiler, I'll give you one example. You remember Tyrion in the book, he wanted to try and find Daenerys Targaryen, and I think in the book they didn't actually manage to find her. But I think there was some story in the middle that Tyrion met a younger character who looked just a bit like Tyrion. So, but then when it came to the actual series on the TV, Tyrion actually managed to meet up with Daenerys herself. Done a few episodes of that, and then I think Daenerys flew off with one of the dragons to somewhere, and it seems like Tyrion has been left to actually run the actual place that Daenerys has left behind. So what fun that would be!
I'm sorry. The last minute or so, I've no idea what you're talking about. I've never seen Game of Thrones.
I think it's one of those ones that you probably have to see from the very start. just because there's like so much into the content, because you have the you have the Starks, the Lannisters. There's so many, the Baratheons. There's so many different families, characters, and places to explore, really, and I think his character kind of develops as he throughout the series. I mean, sometimes in quite literally shocking fashion.
Yeah, well, it's certainly a very popular series, regardless of whether I watch it or whether anybody else does. Anyway, it's very, very popular.
Yeah, it's I think it's I think each series finale is probably I think they're saying it's the most watched outside your normal TV channels in the UK, which is really, really remarkable. And I think I noticed that there's like certain fan bases or groups that are like dedicated to the Game of Thrones. So it's really, really popular.
Oh, it is.
Many people.
It is, definitely. Well, we've come to the end of that round, and actually the end of the show here, but this has been the week before, of course. I've been Jamie Dyer, and thank you very much, David, for coming on the show today.
It's been an absolute pleasure, Jamie. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no worries, and thank you very much for listening. Goodbye.
You've been listening to The Week Before, a weekly recorded show presented by Jamie Dyer, with this week's special guest. The announcer was Katie Harvey, and this has been an all-age media production. Thank you for listening.